Now, for our rants and raves, and Susie, you're up.
I'm first. Okay. So my rant is for the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, who this week denied tenure to Nicole Hannah-Jones, who is a very well-known journalist. She is a New York Times staff writer for the New York Times Magazine and oversaw this very important project, the 1619 Project, which really pissed a lot of conservatives off because it asks us to reframe and rethink about history centering the experience of Black people in this country as slaves. And that is, you can debate whether or not, you know, that decision or that thinking around history is one you agree with. But this decision by the Board of Trustees to overrule the decision of the faculty, of the tenure committee, and not give her tenure and only give her a 5-year contract after she's won the Pulitzer Prize and been given a MacArthur Fellowship is just unacceptable. It's just weird interference from a board that shouldn't be in the business of questioning their own tenure committees. And the right loves to complain about how people are being censored in education. Where are they on this one? It's weird. I don't know what's the difference on this one. You know, I can't tell.
All right. Dan.
Well, I have a rant and rave for Twitter. So the rave is that Twitter is now dropping its image cropping algorithm. So when you're in preview, it minimizes the photo so that you can have more view of the text itself. Now, why are they doing this? Well, there have been complaints from users that whenever photos were shown, it had a preference for showing photos of white people rather than Black people, people of color. And so Twitter decided to investigate and, in fact, found that their system, this algorithm, was, in fact, biased. So they are dropping it. They'll use humans now to determine what photos are seen. And why was this being done? Well, they say it was keying in on eye color or some other things, not making excuses, they say, but pointing out what maybe some of the reasons behind it may have been. I know we've heard a lot of questions around algorithms and do they represent the people who are actually programming a lot of these things? So that discussion has been revived yet again. So rant for what we found out was happening, a rave for correcting it.
All right, Mike.
I would like to rant against Chris Cuomo of CNN. The Washington Post broke the story yesterday. Maybe you saw it, that Chris Cuomo had advised his brother-in-law, Andrew, governor of New York, and members of his brother's staff on how his brother should have been responding to the sexual harassment allegations against him. This, I thought, was a big lapse of judgment when it comes to journalistic ethics. He should not be advising an elected official, even his brother. Clear conflict of interest. He apologized. You just saw it there last night, gets credit for that. But I personally found his apology to be incomplete. If you listen, he apologized only to his colleagues at CNN for putting them in a bad spot and not to his viewers for the breach of ethics. I think those are the people he really owes an apology to. I'm surprised that CNN is not doing anything about it. And once again, the Cuomos have put CNN in hot water.
Yeah, it was interesting. The apology was, I agree, didn't go quite far enough. It seemed sincere for what it was worth, but not
seemed sincere.
Enough.
Talked a lot about how much he loved his family.
Yeah.
Never apologized to his
stumbled
viewers.
onto it. All right, Callie.
Well, Grumpy Gus, I have a rave. I have a rave for Report for America. This is a local news program co-founded by our own Charlie Sennett, based here at GBH, who also runs the Ground Truth Project. This is an initiative that sends reporters out into areas where it literally is a news desert. They go to local newsrooms. They cover certain issues. The program raises half the money and then ask the local station to do a quarter of it, and then local and regional people in the area to do another quarter. It has been amazing what these bright, smart people have been able to do who are so committed to telling the truth of their communities. And to have now more of them going out there, their orientation for this new group, this is the new crop, starts June. It's fabulous. So I can't say enough about it, and we are lucky to have them.
All right, I'm going to have a rave too, Callie, so we'll end on an upbeat. Unfortunately, it's about someone who just recently died. You're not going to know her name. It's Jane Flavelle Collins, but you will know her artwork. She has been a decades-long courtroom artist, sketcher. This is, of course, the Whitey Bulger trial. She also covered the trials of the shoe bomber. This is Whitey again. There's Tarek, and that's Jahar Tsarnaev there. But before there were cameras in the courtroom, Jane Flavelle Collins, this is back in the 70s and 80s, used to go into the courtrooms every day and take sketches. She and her sister both did it for all of the television stations. I worked with her at Channel 5. Every other station in the local market has worked with her, too. She died this week at the age of 84. She was a huge talent and the nicest person you'll ever want to know.